Hey there, welcome to the channel. This is Caffinicus, and today's World of Warships video will feature a game in the Anchorage, the Tier VIII Premium US Navy Heavy Cruiser, which was the reward for the Dockyard event in September 2020. This is a ranked battle on the map Neighbors, and my team spawns on the western flank. We've decided to go for the BC Cat, so I'll head north and try to take cover among the islands there. As always, let's start with the strengths and weaknesses of the ship as we're moving into position. The Anchorage has 12 203mm guns in 4 triple turrets. Yep, 12. Don't get too excited just yet though, as these guns take forever to reload at 15.5 seconds. In addition, the shells used on the Anchorage are those found on the Tier VII US cruisers like the New Orleans, rather than the heavier shells usually found on the Tier VIII and up US cruisers. This means that your max AP damage is only 4600 on a Citadel, and your HE damage is 2800 per shell. Nevertheless, the sheer number of guns on the Anchorage means you can put out some serious alpha strikes, to the point of theoretically being able to one-shot any same tier cruiser with a single salvo, especially given the improved USN AP pen angles. The guns themselves also feel accurate and comfortable to use, though they do have a limited range of 15.6 kilometers. And if your guns aren't enough, the Anchorage also comes equipped with a set of torpedoes. These are the same hard-hitting 19k damage, 10.5 kilometer range, 66 knot torpedoes you get on the Fletcher, though you only get 4 torpedoes a side on the Anchorage. They do reload a lot quicker at only 85 seconds per launcher compared to the Fletcher's 106. These are definitely a strong deterrent factor to counter anyone trying to push into you, and can also be used when kiting away from enemies, as those unfamiliar with this ship may not be expecting your torpedoes. The HP pool is on the upper end of the scale for Tier VIII cruisers at 41,800. You're also covered in 27mm of armor plating, which is very tanky against 381mm caliber guns and lower. However, do be careful of showing your broadside, as the Anchorage's citadel is exposed and sits high above the waterline. And while the base speed of 33 knots is sufficient, watch out for the poor maneuverability of the Anchorage with its 800-meter turning circle and 11.2 second rudder shift. This really feels more like a Russian cruiser than its American brethren. The stealth is okay at 10.7 kilometers surface detection with captain skills, mod, and camo. However, unlike the other USN cruisers, the Anchorage's AA suite is poor outside its 2.4 kilometer close range aura. This means you're not going to shoot down many planes until they're right on top of you and launching their ordnance. But what makes the Anchorage special is the ability to mount a smokescreen consumable with both a long action time of 30 seconds and dispersion time of 104 seconds. This allows you to generate your own cover and duck out from stealth, though be careful that you don't get too close to the enemy team when you do this, as your smoke firing concealment range is 8 kilometers. In addition, the Anchorage also does not have the ability to mount the radar consumable like other high-tier USN cruisers, which makes sense from a balancing perspective. So, you will need to make sure you have others spotting for you when you're ready to smoke up. Anyway, I haven't really done much in this game so far other than pushing forward behind my Fletcher friend. Our team went north while the enemy team went south. But our carrier was late to load in, which means the enemy team was able to pick up the B cap for free, and then proceeded to pick up A as well. So we're down 2 caps to 1, but I'm now finally in a position to fire my guns for the first time in this game. My first target is the enemy Iowa, who is lagging behind the rest of his team. I land 11 of 12 shells with 5 pens and a fire, which the Iowa immediately puts out. The Anchorage has a 17% chance to cause fire with flags and the pyrotechnician skill, so this would be the perfect time to start a barbecue on that Iowa. Unfortunately, my next salvo hits the Iowa while he's still got his DCP going, and the following salvo mostly misses as the Iowa turns away. I only land 3 shell hits and get 2 penetrations, but no fire. I'm also almost ready to fire my next salvo before he goes dark. So you can see the disadvantages of the slow reload here on the Anchorage. But wait, there's an enemy Fletcher spotted on low health, So I wait for him to come around the island, aim and fire, but he's taken out by a Fletcher before my shells even land. Oh well, one less DD to worry about. That enemy Iowa pops back into view though, so let's see if we can light him up once again. I am also going out into the open here in my ship, so I decide to slow down and use my smokescreen consumable here for the first time. The enemy Osterjotland gets spotted in the B cap, and more importantly, the Fletcher also lights up his fishes. I'm already slowing down here, so I decide to go full reverse as I don't want to glide out of my smoke and eat his torpedoes or the shells from the battleships to the south. Meanwhile, I also take a shot at the Osterjotland and get a couple of hits in. We just barely managed to dodge all those fishes, though that last one may have scraped some paint off of my bow. So, that brown alert moment avoided, we go back to making life miserable for the enemy battleship. We only get one salvo off before the Iowa goes dark once again, and this is because the Fletcher in front of us has also dropped a smokescreen during his confrontation with the Oster earlier, so we have no one spotting for us. But we do get a fire on the Iowa, which he once again puts out immediately. The Iowa blind fires at me, which is great, as this means he'll be lit for a while. So now it's time to turn on the Dhaka. Though in the case of the Anchorage, we could make coffee in the time between our shots. We do get a couple of fires though, which are permanent burns on the Iowa, so this will net us a nice chunk of damage. I keep firing HE on the Iowa from within my smokescreen as we still have vision on him. AP might also work here, as he's giving me a nice broadside at less than 12 kilometers. Our Fletcher decides to go out to spot, but unfortunately he takes a torpedo from the Oster and gets chunked down to 4000 HP. My smokescreen is also about to expire, so I've got to start moving here as well. The Iowa's DCP is back up and he puts out my fires. The curse of the Anchorage's slow reload means you don't get many opportunities to light fires before a battleship can put it out once again. I continue to focus down the Iowa as I want to make sure we take out the threat on one flank before turning my attention to the remaining enemy ships who are to my north. I move up here, initially hoping to use the remnants of the Fletcher's smokescreen in order to fire from stealth, but I get spotted by the Oster to my right. But that's okay, I've already gotten some speed up, and I am angled against the Iowa, while the remaining enemies to the north are focused on my Frederick the Grosse buddy. Still, just to be safe, my plan is to get past the island at E6, then turn starboard to keep up my angling as best I can. I am also pushing towards an Iowa here, and that's not really the situation I want to be in, but I have to sink him in order to turn my focus to the northern flank. I've also got a Massachusetts with me who is raining down fire and brimstone from his secondaries. The Iowa is down to 10k HP, but our Frederick the Grosse has just gotten sunk. That means that the enemy Otago and Georgia to the north are now looking for something else to snack on, and I'd like to keep my ship in one piece. So I immediately turn my ship starboard to present a narrower profile against them. Unfortunately, pulling off this turn means my rear guns will have to spin around in order to keep firing against that Iowa, and the Anchorage's turret traverse isn't all that great. Main battery mod 2 and grease the gears are definitely viable options on this ship if you want to get your guns on target quicker. I also decide to smoke up once again here as the island limits my maneuverability and I want to get as many guns to bear on that Iowa as I can. He is still on fire, down to less than 1k HP. Our rear guns lock on and fire, and we finally take out that enemy battleship. So, now that the threat to our flank is over, both the Massachusetts and I can focus down the ships to the north. The Massa is charging forward, while I reverse and angle in my smoke to get my guns to bear on the Otago. The Otago is really zippy for a cruiser, so my first salvo misses. He goes dark, and I have no shots on the Georgia, but the Otago pops back up and he is angled in towards me. My second salvo barely clips the rear of his ship, so I take my time to aim, and fire a third salvo against the Atago. But that gets me spotted, and this tells me that the Osterjotland has gotten around the island in the sea cap and is within 8 kilometers of my ship. I immediately turn on my hydro in case he's got fishes in the water, and I also decide to push out of my smoke here to see if I can surprise him. This is probably the biggest mistake I make in this game. I go dark just as I'm pushing out of my smoke screen, which means the Oster has gotten into cover behind the island in C. I push out anyway, hoping to find the Oster, but instead I meet an angry Georgia. Close your eyes, ladies and gents, this is going to hurt. Yep, I get chunked for 20,000 damage. Well, I do find the Oster and take out a bit of my pain on him, but it's too late to save the cap. I also launch a torpedo salvo on the Georgia, so hopefully some payback is on the way there as well. I fire a second salvo off on the Oster just before I get behind this island, and get another 4,000 damage. The Georgia does take another shot at me and chunks me for another 5k. The Georgia overmatches the plating on the Anchorage, so it's more about dodging than tanking against large caliber battleship guns. But we do get some justice, as one of our torpedoes catches the Georgia for 13,000 damage and causes a flooding. My follow-up salvo also gets a fire on the Georgia, but he puts it out. Our Massachusetts gets the Georgia down to 2,000 HP, but he's taken out as well, and the Georgia is repairing. I fire with my rear guns, and then my frontal guns, but it's just not enough, and we lose sight of that enemy battleship as we round the corner of this island. This is a disaster as we leave him on low health. I turn around to keep the island between the battleship and myself. Our carrier planes spot the Georgia, and he's only got 2000 HP left. But this is when the Oster pops back up. Well, we're not going to miss this one, as we aim, fire, and take out the enemy destroyer. We still have the advantage in this game, and should win it in a little over a minute. So I slow down here, behind the island, and I'm going to start to smoke up. There is no need for me to risk it and charge a battleship, who will likely have his guns aimed in my direction. All I need is for the Georgia to push around, and I can kill him in one salvo, as long as I get a bit of vision help from either our Lion or our Kaga. I ping the map and ask our Kaga for assistance to get some vision on the Georgia. The Georgia is starting to cap B. Oh, what? He's healed up again, and he's now up to 12,000 hit points. I launch a torpedo salvo around the front of the island in case he pushes forward. Based on the minimap though, he is broadside to me, so I switch to AP, and I'm thinking I can one-shot him with a good salvo. I push forward around the island and check to see where his guns are pointed. I'm safe, he's pointed at the Lion, so I aim and fire, but my rear guns clip the island. He is turning his guns on me now, but I reload just in time, fire, and take out the enemy Georgia to close out the game. So, let's take a look at the post-game results. We did over 131,000 damage in this game, with 3 kills for the high caliber achievement. Our base XP was 2268, which was top of our team. Also, well played to our Fletcher who cleared 2k as well. Most of our damage came from our guns, and you can see how accurate the Anchorage is, with over a 50% hit rate. We did get one torpedo hit on the Georgia, and also did a bit of fire and flooding damage as well. Finally, being a premium, the Anchorage does make extra credits and experience. We received 567,000 credits and over 3.7k XP prior to modifiers. With special flags and whatnot, we ended up with over 1.3 million credits and a ton of XP, free XP, and commander XP for this game. So, really good earning potential and captain trainer overall. For anyone interested, here are the equipment and captain skills I use for the ship. Main armaments mod 1, damage control mod 1, aiming systems, though a better alternative may be main battery mod 2 to offset the slow turret traverse. Propulsion mod to more quickly get up to speed since I expect to be sitting in smoke quite a bit, and finally concealment systems. For Captain skills, I have Gun Feeder, Pyrotechnician, Priority Target, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, and Concealment Expertise on Bill Halsey. Other good options include Grease the Gears, Consumables Enhancement, Heavy AP, and Survivability Expert depending on your preference. So, the Anchorage in a nutshell. I like the ship, even though I haven't played it much since getting it from the Dockyard event. You have to plan when to use your smoke screen, and always make sure you have someone providing vision for you when you do. It's super easy to play in divisions with a destroy buddy, for example, and in these cases, you can just push in to about 11 or 12 kilometers, pop your smoke, and Dhaka to your heart's content. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe and like buttons below as it helps me grow the channel. And please join me again next week for more World of Warships videos. Thank you for watching and take care.